And it's even more frustrating for us because we don't get to do the argument that you've begun. And this argument needs to be had amongst us all. You can't just selfishly resolve it unto yourself by taking an easy opt-out clause. See, this thing was an agreed upon marriage between two essential nations to the modern. Before there was a United States, before there was a United Nations, before there was a United this, that, and the other, there was a United Kingdom. And it was an extraordinary meeting of very different minds of two extremely close cousins. And what a construct this thing is, because Scotland is a feeling, England is a feeling, Wales is a feeling, Ireland a feeling, but the United Kingdom is one of the greatest ideas ever invented for the modern age. Between you two extraordinary peoples, between the genius, the native genius of the Scots, and the pure pragmatic drive of the English, you made a world beater. You made sovereignty and independence a guarantee under law. Every man is free, and he is guaranteed that freedom and that independence under the might of parliamentary law. That is something to keep. David Haynes, God rest his soul, you're right. David Haynes was slaughtered by death cultist animals a few days ago. It matters not that that lovely man who went to help some children, some people who were hurting, who went from this island to help others. Let me ask you now, were David Haynes a Scot, would we be less revolted? Would we not be enraged and swear in our hearts for an ultimate revenge, which we may never achieve? Were he English? Were he Welsh? Were he Irish? You see, the pity of all this is we are the closest of cousins. When one of our blood spills, then it all spills. This imaginary independence is what? Certainly if I was Scottish, I'd say, why not? But I'm Irish, so I say, why? There is such a thing as a great, big, glorious no. No is not always a negative. Now I know your dander is up, because I was up there a week ago nosing around, and I dread going back to Glasgow. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen of Glasgow, I'll be up there in 4 weeks, so hey, see you there. I know your dander is up, but if I may address this to the women of Scotland, you all know that when men's dander is up, logic and reason fly out the fucking window. It's certainly right to let your heart inform your head when you vote. But don't let emotion That natural sentiment that is easily perverted by the political mind. Don't let that get in the way of your head. Don't vote with your dander, basically. See, patriotism is a natural, healthy, instinctive thing that we all have. It is a sense of who we are and amongst the place and the people where we belong. But it is the base metal of politics, because it is so easily manipulated into some perverse political ideology. It's always a trick when they bring up this Englishy, Scottishy, Irishy stuff. I'm Irish. I couldn't make a go of it there. I came to this amazing country, and my band first went to Scotland, and they allowed us to breathe, and we stayed in the north of England because London was the punk town. There were no punks from Derbyshire, from what I remember. And when our record came out, the Scots put it in the charts. I owe my life. I have that immigrant's gratitude to this country. Being here is part of the payback. And I just can't imagine that you're prepared to let the 21st century go in order to regress to some mythical 18th century notion. Why retreat into history? Why? The 21st century is there to be shaped. We need to advance into the future together. And why we needed to be together is because in those 1700s, when those pure geniuses of the Scottish Enlightenment, Adam Smith and David Hume and Locke and all these guys, literally wrote out the roadmap to what it is to be modern man. And Lord knows, in this of all years, 100 years after that 75-year war that was the 20th century began, when that mass killing of men and women of Scotland, England, Wales and Ireland occurred, do we really need to be riven asunder by something so unnecessary, so intangible? It is a nation. It is free. It is independent. And David Hume, one of the greatest of all philosophers, and one of those men who sat around that coffee table with the other geniuses of the Scottish Enlightenment, said, when we begin working together, then we can start the healing. And together, there is a lot of work to be done. We need to work out how this whole thing, not just this island, this tiny little island, not just here, but how these ideas could once again move out into the world and point a way to a century that cannot be like the last one, never again. A century defined by the ideas of competition. We don't want to compete with Scotland. We want to cooperate. We want consensus. We don't compromise, and we want to go it forward. I'll be in America when the vote is cast. Even if I were English, or even if the vote were allowed to the English, and the 82% who have just said in a poll they don't want the Scots to go. They don't want them for economic reasons. That's all been thrashed out. They don't want them because of some spurious cultural differences. They want to be part of Scotland, with Scotland, simply because it's family and we love each other.
Sir Bob Geldof. Well done, well done.